Hello everybody, another week, more work for Crossroad. So today we'll continue working on the blocks. Hopefully we'll finish the blocks today. I don't know if that's possible, but I'll certainly do my best. Or at least the .5 versions of all the blocks, so that the next stream we can do an iteration and the next week we can start building. Heads up, tomorrow there won't be a stream because we have a national holiday here for celebrating the birthday of our king, King Willy. So I'll probably be out partying in a village, down the road, drinking beer, doing a barbecue. Anyway, what I want to start with today is a struggle I'm having for quite a couple of hours during this project, and that is I can't quite seem to make buttons work. I don't know if it has to do something with the way. I mean, I love this button, but as soon as you are going to add more text inside of it, it's getting messy. But I don't know. Maybe that's just a matter of fiddling around with font weight, or I don't know. I'll probably start with doing some research for the buttons, and then we can take it from there. Because if you look in the lower left corner, you see which blocks we have left to do for, I guess, today. So content, which will probably pretty easy blocks to make in Figma. So single column, dual column, and a block quote. Then for the buttons, we need the default button, which is this one, the icon button. Image buttons, so people can add their own images to the buttons. Subscribe button and angled buttons. Actually, I'm gonna remove the subscribe button because people can probably do that themselves with an icon and an image button. Then we have cards, which are pretty similar to these cards. These are the block cards, which I have to do quite some work for, but hey, we'll see. So block cards with image, which are these ones. We will do them without images. We'll probably have a look at Dev too, because they do pretty good block cards which don't include any images but do include a little bit of branding. So maybe we can play around with that. Then we have repository cards, so for GitHub, GitLab, just show the repository name, show a little description, show the stars, and maybe show an icon, or whether it's on GitLab, Bitbucket, or GitHub. Statistic cards, which is going to be a pro thingy, I have decided. So statistic cards are showing your actual numbers and showing if they are going the right way or going the wrong way. Then we have product cards, which is also a pro feature. So do you sell merch? Well, show a t-shirt with a price and a small description and the size is available. You can't order directly from the link tree alternative that I'm making, from Crossroad, but you can link to your Shopify store, right? Let's see, testimonials. Well, it's pretty much every site now, every landing page nowadays has testimonials, right? Let me turn down the music just a teeny tiny bit. Then we are going to work on the videos. So why I'm going through this again, because maybe as you might have noticed, I'm adding some pro things, I'm removing some things, just getting my mind into the product again. I'm only working on this 2 or 3 times a week when I'm streaming, so I have to refresh my own memory a bit, you know? Video, which I guess will probably, I don't know if this is going to be a single component. Again, I'm working in the lower left need to point to that side. I don't know if this is going to be a single element, but maybe we can maybe we have to create a pro header with overlapping video component. So I've done this plenty of times before. You have a header, if we have a rectangle here, let's say this is the video, right? Then you will overlap it like this, and then have some white space, and then the content stars. starts. So pretty much, let's say where the little thing is, then this is a video, or maybe this is better, and then you can like hide this for now, and then you have an overlaying video. Like maybe we'll give it like a small border radius. I think it's pretty cool. But we can even make that like in its own element, so you can overlay it yourself. But I don't know if people like will know that that's possible. I think we really have to show people like, hey, you can overlay a video over your header for a sort of introduction video. Or maybe you're a YouTuber and you want to show your latest video in bio, or you're a news outlet and you want to show breaking news. I don't know. You know what? Let's create it. I think it goes well with a background image. So let's just add it right away. I think we had a pretty good understanding of how this was going to work. Like, let's say 16 of both sides, just to have some padding. And in between that, there will be a video. We'll do it on top of that. Let's say detach instance, and let's say header with intro video. And now let's create a new component, and we can get rid of these ones. We can get rid of this one. Then I think we can say like, let's do, this is 21. Maybe we can get away with like 16. I think this is the way. Profile picture, mask group, group 1. Social icons can be gone. That's a border of 3. And it's part of this one. But it can you say in Figma that something can, or you know what, let's just increase the artboard. Can I copy this? This is going to be a problem. Oh, I can even like move down, but I want to increase the, yeah, indeed. So this is possible. And then we have the rectangle, and we say this is the video. And if we have a width of this, and we want to have 16 by 9 calculator, 16 by 9, and we have a pixel width of 2, so it has to be like 162. Okay, so this is 16 by 9, and this is probably for a video. So let's create a rectangle like 30 by 30, and let's, I don't know, like, yep, make it smaller. Maybe we give it a little bit of a border radius, just so make it white. I am not going to place this. Let's say 21 by 20. So it's a little, it's cute, right? Doesn't feel straight. Maybe that's because of, you know what? Let's go to hero icons, and let's say play. Yeah, copy SVG, and now we can get it inside of here. We can say it's white. Bada bing, bada motherfucking boom. Let's make it, I don't know, just so it's obvious that it's a video. Let's go to Unsplash. Let's say video, I don't know. Yep, this is exactly what I'm searching for. Give me this one, save it, bring it in here. Adding image, it's oh, no, they didn't need to be in the frame. Okay, make it smaller. Smaller. Let's see. This is masked. Nice. And then we can remove the fill. Now we're good. So now I can pretty much go to the modeler IDs. Like, let's grab this one. And let's say, okay, well, I'm a YouTuber. So let me remove this. Let me pull this down. Let's go to my component library. And let's import the header with video. Boop. And now you have a video overlay. Let's say we have 32. Now we can move this. Oh shit, I'm doing everything right now. Let's go to the layers. You know what? Let's move this up. Let's dirty through this sucker below here. Let's grab the artboard, pull it out. Boop. And we have ourselves another template. And of course, I can do like a whole lot more with like components and setting custom background images. But this, I mean, it's just like creating components at the moment. I mean, this is 16 by 9. Maybe it can be a little bit smaller on mobile. Maybe I have to make this a little bit less of a width. See, we'll see. Again, I think these might be a little bit too big. Yeah, 9 works better, but we'll fix that later. In a following, in a next iteration, we'll probably go a little bit more in depth in like font sizes, because I have to learn this as well. I find it incredibly difficult, especially in like Figma for mobile or like mobile design, like coming up with the right fonts, because I've been in this situation before where I designed something for mobile with like a really small font sizes and it just didn't work out. It felt like in Figma everything felt way too big, and then once you started working on the actual like HTML CSS, the actual front end, everything felt way too small and there wasn't like a nice in between. So you know, that's something for another iteration, and I think that's the way to go. Because we're still kind of... Oh, this is the social thing. We have to go back to components. We're still exploring like all the components. And I think we have a pretty good like base style. Like with the fonts, with the buttons. And I think these match very well with like the... It's like a little bit playful, but it's still... How do you say it? It's still like... It still fits into the style. The style guide, which we don't have, but still fits into the styles. Especially for this, we have like a good default for border radius, we have a good default for fonts, we have a good default for colors. I think we're going down the right path. So let's pick up another one. I see we already made the first component of the day, so applause. Oh shoot, what did I do? Okay. Content. You know what? Let's get the content things out of the way first. Like, let's copy the header. Let's make the content things here. We know that one artboard is like 320 wide. It's like, let's say, content. Single column. Like, let's go to modeler IDs. I think I have it. So this is single column. Bada bing, bada motherfucking boom. Okay. Let's grab this. Actually, let's turn this into a single one. And let's give this like 16 off the side. Both sides. Set this up with like guidelines so we can do the other ones as well. Boop. Boop. Okay, now we can align it. probably have to as well. And I think let's grab some lorem ipsum. You know what? Let's grab. I think this is fine. Let's see how much text this is. Pretty okay. Pretty okay. Pretty okay. Then we can like bring the artboard down, so it's nice, and then we can remove the fill and say like and single column. Let's see, what is the spacing between this? I think we can go like 12 and 15. Is 14 good enough? Like most of the time I do like double and then -2. I might feel something like double divided by 2. I think this is pretty okay. Like how big is this? Okay, now it's big enough. I'm gonna bring this up just a bit. Lines. Create a component out of this. Now let's go in here and let's say that our YouTuber wants to. Let's do a couple of things for our YouTuber. Like, let's call this like YouTube persona. Let's create personas out of this. Like, this is a YouTuber persona or like a video creator. Maybe that's even better. I don't care where you're on. If you're on Twitter creating videos, Vimeo, YouTube, Twitch. You make content around videos. So he probably opens up with like a channel introduction. And one thing that I don't like about this, and which I'm going to fix right now, is that this little mask group, which we'll call video, needs a little bit of a drop shadow. I think we had 2.8 with a 15%. Maybe I'm mistaken. It's on here as well. Like 2.8, 12%. Okay, it's 12%. Shit, max group. Where are you? Here you are. So 12%. This should bring it like a little bit more off the page. Like it's a little bit more layered. Yeah, exactly. This works way better. Way better. Okay, now let's get the actual content in here. Like this might be a little bit too much. So I think for now we are going to work. Can we like, how can we dynamically update? Maybe that's possible from here. You know what? Let's not be bothered by it. And then you can maybe show some thingies here. Let's say that we do 16. Yeah, exactly. And then we do another 16 pixels, and we show an image gallery, and that's it. Like that's your Instagram. This works, although I might want to space this like 32. I mean, this is not, what I'm doing right now is not necessary, but I have to try and make it look at least a bit decent to see how all the blocks are working together. Because if I'm just like smashing blocks on top of the artboard, it's never going to look good, which is going to be a little bit... Then it's going to be difficult to like really assess like, are all the blocks working together nicely? Is something not bigger than the other one? Because sometimes the design can feel like terrible if the spacing isn't right. Okay, actually, I'm going to create like, let's call this drafts, and let's pull it down here. No, like social, we already have drafts. Like exploration, drafts, and now personas. Let's go here. Like we have a video creator. And we might have a blogger, I guess. So let's clear this all out. And which components. Maybe I'll have to like divide it into like you have local components. I'll have to create a file for the headers, a file for. Let's wait and see. Let's create a blogger. Like this is a hipster blogger, Jonathan, who is a fucking legend. And then we say like maybe enjoys this, like let's say you have 16 and then you can do 8, which is 24. So basically I'm using the Tailwind spacing system, which is like a 16, yeah, which is 16 base, like one REM is 16 pixels. We can do 1.5, which is going to be equal to 24. Okay, so maybe he has this, and then he has, or maybe a blogger, he might use this header, because this now you can sign up for a newsletter. Which makes more sense. And then he might do, I don't know, a bit of socials. And then after the socials, he just ends with, maybe he just ends with socials. I don't know, like linking pages can be as easy as this. Like, okay, so this is the blogger like persona, and as you can see in the bottom left, we still have to get to the cards. So we are going to change this artboard to like include blog posts. So what I see myself doing is like maybe these are the projects that he's working on. Like most bloggers are people, I think like me, who do front end or like have a job, have a passion, and have a couple of pet projects, right? And this is a great card collection for showing your pet projects. But what we really want for Jonathan Legend, the blogger, is to have or just a single card over the entire width, or maybe 2 cards next to each other, or maybe even a carousel. I don't know if I want to get into carousels, because that will require me to write like JavaScript, most likely. Or maybe I can do like for, okay, now we're thinking technical here. What I can also do is like play around with flex. I have done this before, but it's a little tricky on like Windows and Linux. Because if you, can I show this? I found a website, no, I don't think I can remember that website. But if you have a carousel like in, like let's say you do it with Slick. Every front-end developer knows like Slick slider, right? I think you have used it at one time in your career before. Like, it's purely JavaScript. It does what it does. I don't know. Do they have like a flex variant in here? No, they have not. Do I know a project where I use this flex slider? Let me check Singularly real quickly. It's a project that I've shown off like quite a lot, but pricing? Nope. No, I don't think I've used it before. Or I have used it before, I just don't know which project it was. Macy Rosa. So this is just me showing a couple of projects that I did in the past. Okay, so I know this is Slick Slider. Right. Or is this Tiny? No, this is Slick. Okay, one more guess. Is the one? Or is this Tiny Slider? No, this is Owl Slider. No, you know what? Let me just code pen. You know what? Let's code pen this. Start coding. So what you can do, like let's say we have a div with like, I don't know, a couple of, can you do emitter? Yeah, nice. Like 1, 2, 3, and let's give this a class of container. Let's say that the container. Can I increase this? Make this bigger. Editor. You know what? Let me just close this. Let me close this. Like you have a container and you say like display flex. And let's say that the max width of this container, like max width is like 200 pixels. And like the change this to says that's better. Like this way I can just do like the div inside of here is going to have a width of like let's create a couple of more divs. Let's just create 6 divs. 4, 5, 6. Come in, you can do it. Oh. And let's say these have like a 50 pixel width. Hey Jack, how are you doing, my man? Thanks for the second month, Jack. You absolute freaking legend. And let's say overflow is scroll. Why are these not? See, they're not like width. Like, do I have to give them a min width? Rep. See, and now you have like a overflow scroll thingy. Like what you can do now is like, I think you like hide scroll bars CSS. How's the project going? Yeah, it's going pretty good. It's going well. Like I just decided to set up like another page for like personas, so I can test like multiple blocks below each other. Like let's say for example you have video creator, they probably want to have an introduction video where they can like load in their latest video, right? And they might have an about and some social buttons and maybe their Instagram because they're fucking hipsters. But now we also have a blogger persona who probably has a newsletter, probably has some projects he wants to display, like a couple of side projects, maybe a social media. But why is this like resub only like showing up right now? But thanks again, Jack. Thanks again. Like what we want to get in here is like if I go to components, I already like make a very ugly version of this. It's like blog cards, right? We want bloggers to display their latest blogs, and I'm tailoring this towards more technical people, so they might show their latest front-end tutorials, like load in their latest 2 or 3 or 4 blogs, depending on how many blogs they like render in below each other. But then again, I'm also currently like trying to explain that we might be able to do a little carousel without loading any JavaScript. But because most people are going to use this like on their computer or like maybe on mobile, so you can like swipe left and right. So what we have to do now is like overflow hidden. Like there was a way. There was a way. I just can't remember which way, but there was a way to hide the scroll bars. Let's go to this command. Say N. Yeah, see? And now you can like have a carousel without. Like if I give this a border, like border 1 pixel, call it red. You can see that we now have a self-contained little thingy, and we can make it like, we can give this a height of 100 pixels. It's going to be a little bit taller, and then we say height, like min height, 100%. Can give these a background color, papaya, whip. And they stretch the whole thing. We can even make these suckers display flex, right? Boop. And now you have a nice carousel. And let's give these like a why did no, we should just leave it like a border of 1 pixel, solid blue. And now you can see exactly what's going on. So we can do something like this, right? We might be able to, yeah, I don't know if we want to add this, because it's going to add a lot of complexity to like the component library, and I can see myself getting a lot of support messages like, yo, the carousel doesn't work because it doesn't have 2 arrows to go to the next blog post. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I support such a feature with just plain HTML CSS, or do you think like, nah, just drop the ID for now? Because personally, I think this is going to get a lot of complaints for people who expect something like Slick Slider, but I don't want to include, ideally don't want to include any JavaScript, so it's easy for like many people to just load in like the templates. Show more button is another option. Yeah, I think that's currently possible with like with an HTML tag, right? HTML show more. Read more, read less button. No, there is a way with, or maybe most of the times it's in like the forgotten HTML5 elements lists. The top 5 forgotten elements. Show like 4 max and show more with 4 more. Yeah, but my only problem with that is I don't want to include any JavaScript. I'm pretty hell-bent on not including any JavaScript. So that's why I was showing this solution. Like, we can do carousels without any JavaScript, but we just need like people to understand. Like, okay, many hipsters who are probably going to buy this package use MacBooks, so they're already like used to like scrolling side to side. It's only a problem for people who use desktops with a mouse, but then again, I'm used to doing this. Can we do some? Okay, maybe we can include just a little JavaScript. But then again, people will start complaining because then they have to use like port their JavaScript over to React View or everything else. You know what? Let's just keep this into the back of our minds. Think about it just a bit more before we make a decision. I can always, you know what? I can always code it in and then do a couple of test runs and then decide later from, okay, this is going to work, or a lot of people are complaining about this. Actually, I might just give all you guys a free version of like Crossroad and do whatever the fuck you want with it. If you're part of like the beta testers, of course, because I need feedback on this project. And then you can decide for yourself if you like it or not. But for now, let's just continue with like the content things. I got kind of like sidetracked. Like, let's see. Okay, so we have the about thingy. Like, let's detach. It's just called detached one. It's just called detach. And then we are going to say, let's give this a background for now. Give me a columns grids. Like, give me 12 columns, which gather 6 of 8 pixels. 8 pixels. Center with a width of. That's just too much because that's 600. We have a 320 width, which means, I don't know, you know what? Let's just give this a 16. Or it's actually quite easy. I can just like increase this pixel width until it reaches the sides, like Shift R. I thought I had like guidelines enabled. Okay, now we can create a perfect grid. That's fucking awesome. Okay, so it's either this or this. You know what? Let's do this. Even better, remove the layout grid. Create one big one. Create another rectangle, lay it on top of it, make it a bit darker so you can see what the fuck you're doing. Come on, Figma. Don't be a dick. Why is it not showing the center? Okay, so this is the center. Normally Figma would just show me the center right away. Like here. Yada yada. Okay, how big is this? Is 288, so it's 144. Nice. Good job, GG, well played. This. Okay, I'll move that. This is really a getaway of creating 2 columns. Let's remove this. Okay, and I probably can already tell that this isn't going to work. Or maybe it is, because it might not work for longer texts like these, but if you just have like a couple of sentences, just like, let's say that you do it until here, and we bring it down there. We might even have to give this like a little 8 offset, so shit. Like this. Okay. And grab this one and move it here. And now we have 2 column layouts. And let's grab like a lorem ipsum thingy. And let's grab this. Let's see where it goes. We can just do it a little bit magically. Like, let's say that we... Come on. Figma is not happy with me today. Okay, now let's just do it this way. Bring this, bring the artboard to the bottom. Move the fill. And now we have 2 column. I think this works. This works. And what did I say? So we have like content, single column, dual column, and then we need one for a block quote. So the block quote doesn't need a thingy. Like, let's create a fill again. Like, a block quote is probably going to be... Let's bring up the guidelines again. So we have 16 of each side. So we know that we can bring this here. So how do I want to do block quotes is the question. First I have to detach this motherfucker. And I already screwed up, I guess. No, it's... I think it's fine. I think we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. So let's give this the whole entire width. Let's get a little bit of a longer sentence. Like, this might be a quote that you made or that you wrote in a book that you want to highlight. And most of the time you see block quotes in designs. Let's create this for the 16 pixel gutter. I think that's fine. Let's give it a 2 offset. And we used the grayscale of Tailwind. So maybe now is the time to also come up with like a accent color. I know you can find this via default color palettes. Like, what happens if we use purple for this? If we add purple to the project? Yeah, I can already tell that that's not going to work at all. Maybe a little cyan. Nope, we'll probably just be using gray for this design. Which is fine, which is fine. Don't worry about it. Actually, most of the time they use like a little bit of a lighter color to highlight more the text rather than the... Yeah, it can even be lighter than that. Let's use 200. Perfect. And let's bring it 4 of the sides. Then let's remove the Then move this to the top. Then bring the artboard down here. Then remove the fill. Create a thing. Let's block. Quote. Maybe we even want to make this italic. Maybe we add this to it. Why not, I guess? Just to show that it's a quote. We want to make it semi-bold? Maybe we want to make it semi-bold. Let's see how this works on a persona. Like, let's say that this blogger person wrote a book with a very inspirational Lorem Ipsum quote inside of it. Where are you? You're here. So, yeah. Like 24. Again, for the system. And then like 24 here. I mean, this works, right? I think this looks pretty cool. I might actually... No, I think it's good to have like the content then going on the 16 pixels and then the block quote. I might even bring it to... can I jump quickly to the... Okay, let's go to the component file then. Now it's 4 of the side. I will make it 8 of the side. So it's like half of the spacing is like white space on the left, half of space is white space on the right, and then the actual content starts on the border of where all the other content aligns on the page. Just to like give it proper structure. Yeah, like this feels better, yet a little messy. Now it just feels like too much. It doesn't feel like it's centered at all. Like, what is going on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that's no bueno. And that's because this is a width of 3, which has to be a width of 2. And that way we could just say align center. Then we have even spacing. Then we can go to the personas. And now it feels right. Yep, now it feels right. We can even check out what happens if we like grab this thing and this thing and show up the borders. Move it here. And then bring this down just a bit. This also works well. The struggles of designing something. I mean, can I just come on see this for just a second? Like, this is how it looks if you don't put it on the container. And like, if you go back, this is how it looks if you put it on the container. You know what? There's only one solution for this. Variant. Like block quote on container. And then we will create another one, which we are going to detach. And then we're gonna say off container. And we're going to create another component. We're going to bring up the guidelines. Grab these and these. And then do this. And then we can extend the content back to here. And now we have like two block quote types. I think that's better because that way you can play around. Because if you like, let's go to the refs and let me show you why I did this. Because I think if we take a video creator who wants to give like a little bit of an intro on what they exactly do, you can like, let's just remove this. Let's center this actually. Now, let's say that you have text and then a block quote. I think if you grab the block quote that's just off grid, it looks a little bit better. And then you might start like, I don't need this. I can just do this. See? And if I do this side to side, like this is slightly off the container, which brings it a little bit off the page. Okay, so this is better. I have to center this because my artboard is acting a little bit weird. Now, let's grab the one that's on grid. Let's center it. 16, 16. See, I just think this looks a little bit better. Like, it's a little different. Like, we can even remove the titles if it's up to me. Or let's not do it, otherwise I screw up the component maybe. But you can do it this way as well. It's all up to the... Because some people might prefer this to break the content a little bit, to do something interesting. While other people might prefer this. It's all up to the end user, I guess. Let's just include them both. Which also opens the template up to actually do a couple of things just outside the regular, like, guidelines. Okay, so that means that we have block quotes down and we have the whole content section down. So let's focus on... Okay, we have video. I guess the video is just a single element. Like, I don't care where you get it from. You know, do I care? Let's keep these in here. Like, create a little bit of a comment. Oops, shoot. I think it's kind of single line, or but we might need to implement and base HTML CSS wise. Okay, let's see. You know what? Let's do the email sign up form right now, because that one is actually pretty easy. Beep 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 beep. Let's say call to action. Well, we'll just create another artboard. Say we know there's 320 white. Right here we have newsletter, which we are going to place right here. And let's create 2 guides just so that we know that we're on content. Whoop. Let's grab a Tita title, which are these bad boys. What do I have on my own personal website for this? That's probably good copy. On my blog, I guess. Want to stay up to date with everything that I published. Whoop. And then we'll also grab some regular ass text. This down just a bit, so it's like yep, makes more sense. Components, personas. Let's update the blogger personas. Let's see if this works or if you have to tweak anything. This is nice. And that way, that way we can also like maybe introduce backgrounds. We have to wait and see. I mean, I have to wait and see how I exactly want to go about this. But I think I'm going to take an approach that if people like import blocks, they're going to be like maybe in section. I think the blocks are going to be divs, and then I can people, okay, you can put it inside of a section, which you can give a background, and then just give the section some padding, and you can do anything with the component. Like, let's do this, and then we can say like, maybe this person really loves the color. Very, just a little greenish, you know? This person is just a little greenish. He's a little goblin. Oh. And we can even move it down here. See, that works. Or you can use a background image, or you can just increase it just a little bit more. That you go like, okay, I like this spacing more. And this also brings me to the fact that we need, because if someone wants to use a black background, we have to invert the colors just for some text. But that might be something that I will just like do in code. Like apply a class to the body, or like maybe you can apply a class to the section where you can say, okay, this has to be like inverted, or maybe you apply a class to the actual block once it's built. I have to wait and see, but that's something we can definitely do. Does this text need to be smaller? It can be smaller actually. But it can also be a little bit bigger. Maybe the... Wow. I think we'll make this just like 9 or 8. Maybe 9, maybe 8. 8 is good. But 10 is maybe better. Again, this is more if we start iterating over everything, we will fix the font weights. Again, ideally I find someone in my Twitch chat who is like an expert on Figma and like on design, and he can tell me all about it. I know my way around Figma, but I'm just getting started with this whole design game. Again, for all the people watching, I am a front-end developer by trade, and I don't like to call myself an entrepreneur. I just build shit that I want to build, right? No fancy titles. Let's see. Okay, so we made the email CTA form. Okay, so embed tweets. You know, we're going to do that once we... or do we want to do that? No. Let's just keep the... Okay, this is really grinding my gear. Let's group this and give this like proper spacing. Okay, now it looks better. Thank you very muchos. Spotify widget, embed tweets. We're going to do like these two. Why is this? Okay, thank you very much. The embed tweets and the Spotify widget, it doesn't make any sense to design them because they're only predefined, and you export them. Like you embed them from Twitter with the proper styles from Twitter, or you like get the Spotify widget in code from Spotify, right? And maybe even so, maybe this is not pro. This is just like let's define it inside here. Hopefully this is readable for you in like in that corner. If I have to make the Notion window just a little bit bigger, let me know. Doing code, we can make these blocks pro because it just embeds platforms. However, I am keeping them here because I want to add rotation. Good. Capital template. Okay, cool. So now let's move on with what do I want to... Okay, there are actually two things that I want to do. Right now, if we have the assets, everything is in this component thing, which makes it a little bit hard to search. So let's start with that. We can... Let me just... Can you create folders? No, you can't. Well, let's just keep them in one file for now. Worry about that later. Okay, so we have to do the buttons and we have to do more cards. Okay, so block card with image, block cards without image, repository cards. Maybe I have to create for the cards like a wrapper component, or is that too difficult? Maybe I can do that in the same file. So what I'm saying with that is like, I'll probably code like a single instance of like the card. Let's say this is a card with an image and everything filled. Like I'm going to code a single instance that's like full width. And then you have a wrapper container component div or whatever the fuck. And you can say, okay, but now put it in a grid and put it next to each other. So actually this little thingy is going to be like, it's going to be responses depending on the container that is in. I don't think we can go as far as like putting 3 in a row, because that's just not enough space for any text. But we can do like a columned container for the cards. Which means that I'm probably only going to do the designs for the like the gridded cards, so that they're next to each other, just so I know if it works in a grid of 2 columns like besides each other. It's probably gonna work perfectly fine if I just make one big card out of it, because there's more space for font. And maybe we can even do some progressive enhancement by adding a little bit more metadata to the things that are like 12 width, like full width. But hey, we'll figure that one out. Like, you know what? Let's just continue with like the block cards. These are okay. These are portfolio gallery, which you can use, which are pretty much multi-purpose. These can. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to fix is like, don't clip the fucking content. Give me a width of 320 and center this. I think you're part of this one. But we need to have a 16 offsets on both sides, just to be conform the grid. Give me a fill, just so I know what I'm doing. Now hopefully... Fuck. Just give me new rectangles. Give me 100 with like 8 apart. And then... Let's see. Why if I drag both freaking elements... Okay, so this is 100 and this is 100. Now we grab both elements, right? And now we make them bigger. This is 138, this is 130. Thank you very much. Sometimes, for some reason, if I do this, it gives one element like a slightly different width from the other one, just to compensate. Fuck! That's not what I want. And that really grinds my gears. Because why does it frustrate me that much? Because I've done it before and it screwed up like 2 hours of work, and you had to fix it, and then the fonts didn't work, etc, etc, etc. Excuse me. Okay, now let's bring these down. I guess let's just work with this width. We know that we want to have a 3 pixel border. We know that we want to have a drop shadow of 2, 8, 12, because that's the shadow we chose, which works pretty well. It's pretty soft, but it's also pretty nice. Let's make it white. Then let's grab these bad boys, slap them top of here, and let's say that this Come on, group it. Thank you very much. This is a block post. Now, it wouldn't be efficient if I just... okay. I forgot to set up guidelines. Boop. Boop. Because this makes it way faster than working with rectangles. Like, and now I can... They're 12 apart. Is that something I want? To have them 8 apart. Fuck me side. Okay, I'm not going to be bothered by that now. But then again, I need to be bothered by it now, otherwise I'm going to screw up the widths. Why? I thought I just grabbed an offset of 8, or did I screw up somewhere along the way? You know what? How are the other, like... How big... Yeah, we need to have 8. Like, you can divide it by 2, right? Which is... Like, this is on grid, so why can't... Ah! What am I pressing on my keyboard that makes my Figma? Okay, I need to calm down. I need to take a break. Eat a Kit Kat. Or Snicker. I don't know. Snickle. Eat a Snickle. Okay, so we probably need to be... I know it. So we have 144. These need 4 minus 4 is 140. And that's also 8. Cool, thank you very much. Okay, now we can start designing. Let's grab a real block header. Do not like how to handle disagreements in a remote team. Inside of here, let's create a little bit of an inner container of 8. Because we have 8 here and 16 here, I think 8 makes more sense. We could try 4. That's definitely a possibility, but let's just see how this turns out. Grab this. This one can be gone now. Let's turn this around so it's 8 up. Grab 8 again. Already know that these cards have to get taller. Can I just... Thank you. Let's grab some standard text. It's inside of here. I think this is a pretty decent intro, so we can get rid of this. So get the height. With thingy. Okay, now let's see. We have this little man right here. Let's move it down. Let's grab this one. Okay, right off the bat, I think I already need some kind of, if we go to components. Actually, let's grab this. And let's create a separate component for the titles. Because for some reason, that makes just a little bit more sense. Sometimes you do want headers and sometimes you don't want headers. Maybe you have a block quote like in between two paragraphs and you're like, yeah, but I don't want to include a header. So let's create an artboard. Cool. And let's add the about here. And this can be as wide as this. Then we can bring this down. We can remove the fill. Say heading. With a component out of that. Go back to personas. Assets. Cool. But now we can also do it here. And we can say, like, can we give this... I think this is something you have to, like, configure. Ah. This is no bueno. Let's fix this. So this is just to goddamn high. Okay, so it needs to be this. Now we can remove it. Now we can go back to personas. And then we can do this. This works. Now it would be cool indeed if it could have a carousel, but hey, it is what it is, right? Now let's just say that it's 0.5, like version 0.5, so let's not be bothered by like, okay, I want to fix the text a little bit, like spacing, like the colors, but it will come. It will be done, not right now. Okay, now let's create the version without images. So spacing is 8, so I don't know what I'm actually doing. I can just do this. Grab this. Maybe even grab an 8 here. Why can't I just... It isn't locked. Okay, this is... Sometimes Figma does strange things. I can't even move it up or down. What's the matter, babe? Oh, that's right. Okay, I had to detach it. See, still learning Figma. Every day, another reason to be mad. Actually, there's a code. Cool. Okay, so the proper way to do this is by going down here. Thanks for the follow. How are you doing today? Man, I will just call you men, and if you're a woman, that's funny. I don't know. How are you doing? What are you working on? Let me know. I want to know. I want to know what you guys are working on. I mean, I'm just vibing here, doing some design. Oh, shit. Did I forget to do it? I was distracted by a follow. Yeah, I was distracted. First, we have to, like, detach the instant. Then, like, say a blog post without images. Then we have to create a component out of it. And now we can work freely without any big issues. Let's create this whole blog post. Let's create an 8 here. Here. Whoop. Can bring this down. Can just duplicate this. But it has to be 8 apart. Now we're good, right? 16, 16, up. Okay, again, we have to fix this. Isn't a beautiful thing ever, but we'll get to that later. So block image, like block cards with image, without image. I don't think we have to include any like author information because it's going to be on a link page. It's going to be written by the person. Or maybe I can add a little metadata on top or at the bottom. Is like, let's leave that. Let's leave a comment like at metadata like source of the blog post. Example. Def main dot. Just to make it a little bit more interesting and maybe more usable, or maybe to make people more happy so they can show off their own brand. I don't know. I'm good. Building a .NET 6 Razor site. .NET. I'm seeing so much people working with .NET recently. I actually know a couple of people, that's the word I'm looking for, who switched from like regular like web dev to like .NET dev. I guess it's still web dev in shape form, but interesting to see that it's gaining a lot of traction. Product card. Do I want to work on the repository cards or the product cards or the statistic card testimonials? Not a man, lol. Weird name, I admit. Weird name. Okay, so how do I call you then? I will do my best to remember. Do not call you a man. Maybe I have to stop calling people men and women altogether. Like, just call you like my little Roombas or something. Next. Yeah, let's just do the repository cards because they're gonna be hell of a lot more simpler. I'm very new to it, transferring over from classic ASP. Works for me. Roomba. Yeah, and how are you liking it so far? I hear from many people who went down the .NET part that they're actually really enjoying it. Like the documentation, the developer experience. I don't know. I haven't given it a shot just yet. I mean, I'm pretty happy where I'm at the moment. Web dev, from React. Although I'm getting a little sick and tired of like every single front-end job requiring me to do like... You open a vacancy for like a front-end development role and it's like, oh yeah, but it's like really a prey if you can work with Node.js, Postgres, MongoDB, like if you know how to remove a liver from a living breathing baby. It's I don't know. There's more and more a disconnect between like front-end, back-end, and everybody needs to be full stack for some reason. I don't know why. It's just so... It's so weird. I mean, I know that like a couple of years ago when I got like approached by recruiters, it was no, front end only, we need to like implement a whole design system, yada yada yada, and now it's like, oh, you will be the sole developer on this one, you need to also manage the infrastructure, you can do that, and for a salary that's just like less than what you're currently earning. I don't know how people do it. Let's see. Like, you have these repository cards, GitHub. Like, if I search for an GitHub cards, like there. Let's just go to GitHub, right? Okay, so cards are this. Do we have? Sounds exactly like my job right now. Yeah, but I think .NET is also like pretty much a full stack thing, but with better tooling. Again, I try to search more for like a sort of... I mean, I'm more into like, okay, if I'm doing like full stack stuff or like building MVPs, for example. If I'm building MVPs, I do want a tool like Firebase or Supabase in my tool belt, just so that I can get from 0 to 1 with an MVP. But after that, I want someone who is like good at API design, good at documenting API. I don't think a single person can do all of it, or at least not fast enough. Didn't apply for a full stack dev role, but that's what I'm doing. Yeah, exactly. That was exactly what I ended up doing at my previous job as well. Just like there are not enough developers, so the developers that you do have, you are going to push them all the way towards like doing full stack. I don't know. I don't think it's all that of a great approach, especially for junior developers. I think junior devs, especially in the first couple of years, should really focus on mastering either not full stack, sorry, either backend or front end, and then move on to another one. Otherwise, you're just learning too much at the same time. Yeah, even if they can do it, it doesn't mean they should. MVPs, fine. If you're building a complete project, you can definitely do it, but something is always going to give out, or you have to spend a lot of time on it. Let's just do this Supabase. Can I share this? Like, what happens if I like? Is there a way to share it? I just want to see a... Maybe I have to do this like... Let's go to my Twitter, shall we? Does this create a card? Nope. Okay, then I'm pretty much going to... Oh, I think you can see it right. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to see. So we have like a... Okay, so first we're going to detach this. Then we are going to remove a single one of them. Then it's going to be at max like 2 lines. And we are going to call this like... Let's grab a rather... what is a long repository name? Is there something? Yeah, let's grab this. Let's go here. Let's say this, and it can be a little bit smaller. Pretty much be the same width. Let's not make this too difficult. Why can I make this smaller? Why is this getting okay, because I just need to do that. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go back all the way to the original one. Let's say that it's going to be 12 by 12. And then we're going to give this like a 1. And we're going to go to colors. Let's say that we give this a 400. Actually, this needs to be smaller. Oh, I can perfectly center this now. Better. Oh, that looks awful. Smaller. Yeah, see, but now we can't go any smaller. Oh, we can actually. Why can't I? Ah, why can I... Okay, then this needs to be just 1 pixel bigger. I'm not all that great with icons, as you can see. Yeah, I do want to add a little icon in front of it though. Can I find this on simple icons? Or I can just like do this. With this simple icon, we can indicate... oh, sorry, I missed the question. I was just... Sorry, I was a little bit too much caught up in the design. Okay, 2 questions. What exactly are you working on? I think I missed what you said. Okay, so there's a quick little hotkey Reno, or a command for project. But let me give you the grasp. I think if we look at the personas, I'm definitely building yet another link in bio tool. However, the twist with my tool is I'm just going to provide the component library for it, and you can bring your own API. So it's more tailored towards like developers and more technical people. You can run it on your own server. You don't have to pay a monthly fee. And I'm working on blocks for like the blocks and like the image gallery and a video right here. So if you're a little bit more technical, you can set up, for instance, with Next.js, an API route to fetch the latest data, and you have a pretty decent link in bio page. If you run an Instagram account, you can maybe even automate it so that if you set in the CMS like featured, this template can update to show the featured blog post in the link in bio, so you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go into Instagram and update everything. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. And in the project you can find anything else. And also partly I'm doing this because I always wanted to build an HTML template and try to sell it. I don't know. I just think there's a beauty to HTML templates. And I need to get better at selling. And this is a pretty simple thing to sell and for me to support as well. Then the second question is, do you prefer Figma over similar tools? Tried to convince my manager to implement it, but he didn't want to have to learn something new. Well, do I prefer Figma over similar tools? Yes. I've worked with Sketch in the past. I've worked with Adobe XD in the past. I even... What did we use before Sketch? Photoshop? I guess we used Photoshop before Sketch. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, I've used everything and I love Figma. It's in the browser, it works great, it has a great plugin ecosystem. I'm not a fan of Adobe XD, but I just find using Figma more convenient to work with clients. And like, most of the people I know use Figma, so it's easier for me to pick up some cool tricks in Figma. And I don't think, actually, another big reason why I love Figma, it never crashed on me. It never, I think I've been using Figma for four years, if not longer. It never failed me. It never crashed, it never slowed down, it just never failed me. The only thing in Figma that sucks is me using it, because I have to get better at it. Since you have more tools than Adobe XD and much easier than Photoshop. Yep, I have to agree with that one. Smaller. And of course, this icon can be swapped out later by like Big Bucket or whatever. Okay, we'll have to do better. I think I remember Adobe XD crashing a fair amount. Real annoying. Yep, I've worked with it a couple of times. And I remember always thinking to myself, at least once during such a project, okay, Twan, you can do one of two things. You can either like continue down this like torture road, or you can spend the time or spend a weekend like converting everything to Figma. And I actually converted one project to Figma when working with another designer. I was like, I can't continue using Adobe XD. You know, if I use this and I do like inspect like this information, like the history, like rating pages, like the prototype tool, everything is just a little bit better in Figma, in my honest opinion. My Adobe XD projects deleted themselves really good. Yeah. That didn't happen to me before. But and you know, one other thing, I noticed that when I'm working together with like designers who use Adobe XD, it's always a struggle with versioning. Like you always work on an older design for some reason. Which is a little odd, because in Figma it didn't happen before, because you have pages and you can mark them like V1, V2, V3, V4 if you want to do that, or if you want to have a living breathing thing. I personally prefer to have like pages for which version of the project I'm working on, or just like have a holy grail file, that's the single source of truth for the developers. But in Adobe XD, I had a couple of cases where the designer was like, yeah, I updated the designs with the latest version. I implemented it, and he got back to me like, oh, sorry, Adobe XD didn't update, or whatever the fuck was going on. You were actually worked on two versions, two earlier versions, which we removed feature sets from, etc. So yeah, Adobe XD, not a fan. I don't despise it either. I mean, I might sound a little bit negative, but I also did a couple of projects where everything went fine-ish. I always missed Figma, but never to the point where I was like, okay, I'm stopping with this project. Because some clients just will straight up tell you, like, you can't convert it to Figma. We have to do everything with Adobe XD. This is the way. Okay. Who am I to say, okay, no, fuck you. I will leave the money on the table. Figma is pretty slow for you. Oh, then you might actually want to check out Mighty. If it's... Check this one. You'll fucking love it if Figma's slow for you. Oh, you have to request access. Oh, right. Not performance-wise, but just slow to make stuff. Why? What's the difference between Figma? I mean, Sketch, Figma, Adobe XD, workflow-wise, I won't exactly put it out that they work exactly the same, but they are similar. I mean, the difference between Sketch and Figma is, at least when I converted, was like 0 to none. Figma just offered a couple of more tools. Okay, this definitely have to be better, but oh well. I just make everything fast in Adobe XD. I don't know. How does the Adobe XD case? Yeah, looking at this interface, it all looks the same. With Figma, I have to group everything and make all the pages. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, because don't you have to group... Don't you want to group your stuff in a way that makes sense? I definitely don't want software to group things for me, because then you're like, oh, why is that element in the group? I just want to align something without that element. It has way less features, that's probably why. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like I like to work with lists. I like to tidy up groups, like not always. I think this project is a perfect example for me just going like apeshit with I just want to make components and don't worry about everything. And I mean, it works fine. As soon as I want to align certain things, I might have to group a couple of things, but that's just a matter of like control clicking elements and then hitting Control G. But from my experience in the past, I know that I'm like a shortcut prostitute or something. I know all the shortcuts from the top of my head, or like a lot of shortcuts, and people just watching me use the keyboard like, what the fuck are you doing for Blackmagic? And I'm like, well, man, you just do Control C, Control D, and then you can group your Figma components or your Figma elements. Yeah, putting it that way, yeah, it sounds hard. Stop using Figma, use Adobe. Stop using a computer. Like, grab a slab of stone and like, I don't know, like, grab a hammer, grab a nail, like, carve it out. Even better, just imagine it in your head and then talk to a developer and try to... That's actually a fun challenge. Imagine the design in your head and try to talk a developer through it. Comedy assured. But I just like making super fast half-done pages with OBC and go and doing the rest in code. Yeah, me too. I'm actually, you know, I keep telling myself that I will do like 1 or 2 more iterations in Figma. Don't know about that one, Chief. I might just look at this and be like, okay, if I work on the fonts a little bit, if I work on the spacing a little bit, I can do that in code as well, prototype a little bit, and then we're there. On the other hand, it might be a great feature to include a Figma file in like the Gumroad packages, so that people can mix and match like the actual stuff inside of Figma before building it. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see how I'll do that. Okay. I have to go for a quick potty break. And I have to reply to one message. So I will go to the toilet, grab a drink, reply to a message, and I'll be back in like a couple of minutes. So enjoy the lo-fi. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Let me put in my in-ears. I'm totally fried from the gym yesterday. My legs. Here one. Here two. And then. Okay, refueling. Let's get back to the design. Okay, so what did we do? We created these little repository cards. I'm still not fond of... Maybe they have to go like one down. Something just isn't right with these cards. Maybe it's the weight between the fonts. Like, this is medium, let's make it right. Actually, that's better. Ah! And do we have to, like, instead of bold, make these semi-bold then? Yep, that's better, because it's smaller. The fattest font weight just doesn't make sense. Okay, better. Better. Then I still think that these two have... Yep, 3.5. That's not... Let me select just the star. I disabled it, so that's why I couldn't select it. I need this one. 3.5, cool. Makes sense. Okay, I'm satisfied with it for now. I mean, we can always tweak it later. Now we create a component out of it. And let's create another persona. Like, let's create a developer persona. Let's clear everything. And what does a developer have? It probably has a header, which is probably simple. I think most developers will go for this header. I don't know why. It just feels right. And then they'll probably have a couple of repositories. Maybe 4. Let's also give that a title. I don't know. My recent projects. And then they might include a portfolio of sorts. So is this the first time you're making an HTML template to sell? As an independent creator, yes. Yes, I mean, I've done it before, but I don't know if you can call it HTML template. Actually, I am part of a group for the Publisher Club. Publisher Club. I always forget this, but sure. I always forget the domain. Great to be part of the group. Yeah, see? So where we created a template where you can like create your own like, or you publish your own blog or publish your own collection with Notion. So let me see. Let me think of an example for this. So yeah, I think use affiliates is pretty much part of the Publisher Club. Like, you can buy a template, not this template, because this is an advanced template. If you want to buy this one off me, grab a bag of cash. But You can make things that are similar to this with like buy the template, set up a Notion database, and voila. You have a free CMS, and it can even be run totally free if you deploy it to Vercel. So it's not my first rodeo, but in a way it is my first rodeo because I have to manage the marketing myself, I have the distribution myself, the bookkeeping and all that kind of fun stuff. Actually, maybe he doesn't have a title. I think developers are really not thinking about the user, more like, okay, what did I do? And maybe we'll end it off with like a social icon row, right? Actually, I'm not even mad how many like it's you can even these ones, you know, if you are like a developer, which are pretty much other people because you have to deploy this to your own server and edit the content yourself, of course. You can give this your own twist, remove border radiuses, like make this like a full grid template, just like the image below. I'm pretty happy with how everything is turning out. I don't know why, I just have a good feeling about this project. That's something I want to dabble in at some point. Like running your own business or selling your own shit or products. Let me talk a little additional stream. Fuck it, I won't do that. I mean, tomorrow we have selling my own shit. Well, you can try selling your own bathwater. I mean, that's a pretty successful business. I don't know what people buy bathwater of other people. I just think it's nasty. But hey, I don't judge. Don't kink shame, right? Where's the social row? Because I don't think these have the... Okay, these do have the right colors. Yes, these do have the right colors. I'm good personally, you do you. Yeah, no kink shaming. This is a kink shame... This is a kink shame free street? I don't know. Probably. You do you. Whatever floats your boat. Odd squeeze, but yes please. No. Strange muscle contraction, but it gives me satisfaction. I love that meme. Okay, so we still have to fuck around with the buttons. I don't know. Did they grow on me already? Not the icon one, I can say for sure. Cool, let's just keep it this way. Perfect. Project's looking good to me, by the way. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I mean, that's one thing I really had to get better at once I started going independent, like design. Like, as you can see, you know, this looks fine, this looks fine, this looks fine, the headers look fine, the content looks fine, but this looks fine, but just, there is the thing about buttons which just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't connect with me. Maybe let's see, designing buttons tutorial. Let's just get good at it, shall we? He looks like he just popped a pill in Ibiza. Hello there. Sorry. Maybe he's a very cool dude. Okay, this looks... You know what? Let's just...
Gets paid. So first of all, let's ask ourselves the fundamental question. What is a button? A button is an interactive element with a clearly labeled action.
Fucking hell, didn't know about that one, Chief. Don't trust that man, don't do it. Designing buttons, Figma. His eyes feel hot. He has seen some shit. He has seen... he has worked with Angular. He refactored an Angular application to React. And now his soul is sold to the devil. I think you have to sell your soul to the devil in order to refactor an Angular project to React. Unless you are able to do it from scratch, just from the designs, of course. You know what? Medium is always pretty alright. I mean, I don't have I don't need to have that much information. I just need to get some good defaults for buttons. Primary button. Okay, yeah. These buttons also look very basic. Let's go to... Oh, I already looked at buttons. This looks awesome. This looks awesome. That's just not what I want. Is it just me or... I just think my text is too big. Okay, so if we tone it down just a bit and we like center it, right? And then from bold we go to semi-bold. Let's go back to what we had. Okay, remove the icon button for now. Let's just do this and let's detach this instance. So this is where we started. I think that's great to have in view. Like, let's... Okay, and then I have another idea. What if we remove the stroke? Touch. Touch instance. And then we can even drop 2 more. Well, okay, so I think if we fix the outline one, we pretty much fix every button, because this again looks like absolute trash. Maybe I need a pair like font pair enter. Bleh. Bleh. I don't think that's actually available, right? Nope. A grey border with a blue background, probably. Like, do you mean this one? I don't know. I'm not sure about the border either. I'm just, I don't know. I think okay. This with the small gray border looks a little fancier than just a plain button. Let's remove this one. Or maybe I'm just being a little perfectionist bitch. And I just have to place this inside of a component before saying that it sucks. Just seeing it an actual bit darker. Like the gray border? Like let's place it inside of the blogger thingy, the blogger template. Shall we? Let's say that beneath the... Yeah, so now we're getting into a territory where we already know that this needs to be bigger. Okay, and that's exactly why buttons need to be full width. Oh, I forgot about that one. It's mobile, you silly goose. Yeah, so, okay. Just bear with me just for a second. Let's make this 32, then let's make this 12. And I think we're back on the same page, right? 10. Yeah, 11. Okay, so you're talking about the border, and then let's say 80. Don't know. I do feel something for making it like darker. I just don't know if that's the way to go. Like we used the gray one, and I think which one did we use? Like the E5 version. Let's go one darker. Like this is better, but you can't see this quite as well because of like the background contrast with Figma. Okay, now so this is, let's just grab the button, default button. It's way too big for some reason. Why is that? It's 320. That's because it has to have a 16 pixel cutter. Okay. I'm kind of going off what GitHub uses. Ah, yes. But these are actually 58. And this is why I really find it strange to design in Figma. Because this is a 58 button. It looks way too big. Like how then? How does designing in Figma work with scale? Like this is 58, but this doesn't look as freaking tall as that one. Okay, but we were working on something a bit different. I think your page size is a bit too small. No, they are not, because they're 320 wide. Which is, which I always use for... Oh, actually this one looks pretty good. What do you think? Like, this is the original? Maybe one darker, just to see what happens. No, I always use like 320 to make sure that it also works on like smaller iPhones and like smaller Galaxy devices. Okay, let me update this one just to see which border I like better. Oh yeah, this also looks good. But let's see first what happens with... I'm not a fan of... Oh, what did I do? I closed OBS. Are we still live? We are still live and kicking. Maybe I think this gray one looks better. Yeah! We went from gray 7... Let's 600. I still think the buttons... Ugh. Okay. When I look at this, I'm even not that mad about, like, maybe it's just a matter of properly like use some like capitalization. Nope, definitely not. Maybe don't use any capital letters at all. Slightly better. Slightly less creamish. You know what? I'm not mad. Actually, I kind of start to like the whole design. For the professional vibe, yeah, I do want to go for the professional vibe. I don't think you want to go for anything else, and that's why I always say like this definitely needs like two or three like iteration rounds. Just to figure out all the font weight and font spacing and white space and yada yada. Because if I look at the top part of the pages, especially this one, you know, the spacing between about and the text needs to be a little bit bigger. And maybe a different background image here so the text pops a little bit more. Maybe like a gradient background, which everyone is freaking horny over as of late. I think we have a professional vibe right there. I think these look good. I think the gallery looks good. I think It's just the button that's screwing with me a little bit. And again, I think that this also looks pretty slick. I mean, there definitely needs to be some work on the spacing within this block, like the size of the icons compared to the other things on the page, and maybe this can be a little bit smaller as well. Oh well, we'll see. We'll just keep grinding and keep going on until we'll get to something that's acceptable. How exact are you with sizing spacing? Not all that exact, I think. Well, I have a scale in mind, right? So I know that my spacings are based on like 16 pixels, so like 8, 16, 24, 32, etc, etc. That's going to be my spacing, because this is an 8 spacing and this is an 8 spacing here as well, and then the spacing between this is either 16 or 24. I think it's 24. So the only thing I need to think about is the spacing between text, because spacing text, especially in Figma and even on the web, is... I can exactly show you why. If I select this element, this is how the text is rendered. Let me zoom in for you. It's not perfectly like... Here I have 2.5 like... I don't know how these... Let's call them pixels. 2.5 pixels inside of the text block. And here I have like 1 3/4. So it's never perfectly centered. And it's always really grinding my gears when working... When working... let's see if I'm just like not understand. No, so like... We have a half of a pixel here, or maybe even 1 pixel, and then here it's... I think this is the biggest letter. It's 1/85. Which makes it hard to be consistent with spacing, especially if you're using font pairs, which I'm gladly not doing. No, and I actually had lots and lots and lots of discussion with designers about this. Like they come to me with a font that's ferocious to work with on the web, and they're like, "Yep, but I did make it beautiful in Figma," and they're like, "Yep, but I have to make it fucking responsive." And like account for when people actually set a different font size in their browser, and so we have to use REMs and EMs. Like, come on. And I don't know. That's just think a single one of the grinds I have with a lot of designers who are not that. I don't know if they're just not experienced or if they are just dense as fuck. Because I work with designers. I think my previous boss is one of them who could think 2 steps ahead. Like, okay, if I'm designing this element here for desktop, how is it going to scale down? He didn't even need to make the mobile designs for me to understand, okay, this just needs to be like, it needs to go underneath each other, it needs to stack on top of each other, or this needs to be a little bit smaller. And then you also have designers who will give you like a mobile design, a tablet design, a desktop design, a 4K monitor design, an 8K monitor design, and like a flat screen billboard size design for just exemplary reasons. And not a single one of them is right. You always end up like asking a lot of questions to Zeppelin, to Figma, placing a lot of comments with like, this isn't going to work and this is going to work, and why do we have this on desktop and then on mobile we're doing something completely else. I mean, I'm fine with doing that, but just know that if we go down that route, it will cost me like, I don't know, 24 hours to fix it, instead of we're just doing this and this and this, make a couple small adjustments, and will just cost me 2 hours of front-end work. I don't know, those designers frustrate me, especially if you're working for like a marketing website for I don't know, a random law firm. I mean, if you are Airbnb or like Uber or like any big tech, I understand that you sometimes want to go a little bit out of the way to make the experience just perfect. But for a law firm, just stick things on top of it. It's fine. It's just some marketing information. But then again, you can say, and that's why they are the designers and you're not. I don't know. I can rant all day long about things that happened in my short career. Okay, let's see. So we have the repository cards. Now we have to do the product cards. How do I want to do that? I think I want to grab these ones. Oh, not. Granted, that kind of seems inevitable, though. I mean, it doesn't have to be threading. I mean, I spoke to a lot of other developers, especially on like, one, how the fuck do we deal with like responsive designs? And I'm like, I don't know. I was forced into a position early on in my career where I constantly had to work with complex grids. Like, back in the day, I mean, I had to make masonry grids. I had to do some funky stuff with the thing. So since my basis with like layouts inside of HTML, CSS is developed pretty well, I don't dread responsive design at all, except for like the scenario I just told you guys about, like designers going like ape shit crazy and like creating basically 5 different designs for 5 different screen sizes without like any like good defaults. Let's just steal a product image from Coolblue here. Let's just, I don't know. MIDI keyboards, it's cool. Give me that image. Ah, fuck. Okay, I can do. Pop.com. Actually, if you don't want to dread like responsive design, look into CSS Grid. Take some time to really understand how CSS Grid works because it's awesome. Ever since I got introduced to CSS Grid, the only thing I use for like styling wise and library wise is like Tailwind, just because it comes with all the good defaults for font, the resets, the yeah, what else does it come with? Like all the utility classes. I tend not to use like Chakra UI anymore. I like component libraries. I swear I've spent hours on this damn page. I know that feeling. But it actually took me a fair amount of time before like, let's grab a... Okay, maybe this is just fine. Let's create a webcam. Cool. Yeah, I know that feeling as well. I mean... Yeah, Tailwind just has good default. You know what Tailwind really is about for me? It's about like setting good standards also for the team you're working with. It's like if I define in the Tailwind config how big like the containers are, what the default colors are, everybody in the project knows what to work with, and it's actually, I would go as far as say I never been in a situation where in previous projects, if you had like your SCSS file, etc., people were copying and pasting shit all over and thought that, oh, I can't find this because it wasn't named properly. Tailwind, it's gone. The bundle sizes are small. The code is pretty readable. Of course, you can say something about like all the utility classes. Personally, I don't mind. I mean, if I have to read through like a couple of utility classes more, which makes my HTML a little bit more unreadable, or I have to go through like all the SCSS file with fuzzy finding and yada yada yada, I don't care. I don't care. It's either one or the other. It's both. It's annoying sometimes, and in both cases, it can also be like a pretty easy job. It's not like I truly hate it. It's just the long process of getting my bearings with it. Yeah, I mean, don't... Did you... Oh, yeah, this might be a stupid question, but for me it was a matter... Do you already, like, came to realization that you have to mix and match and nest multiple... Or you can mix, match and nest multiple grids and flag boxes? Because as soon as you get that right, it's like a whole nother... Let's look at use affiliates, how that's built up, right? Like, we have flags, 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 and then everything is inside of a grid. This might not be. Like, everything is inside of a grid, and inside of the grid we have flags, and we have this flags. So, I don't know, it's such an elegant system, and it's so easy to work with. I think I just need to dedicate a couple of days to fully understanding it. You know, yeah. Yeah, you don't have to spend a couple of days to fully understand it. You just have to dedicate a couple of days to building multiple front ends. Just draw out a couple of front ends, or just go and dribble, find a couple of couple of designs, just like, oh, those are kind of hard grids to develop, and then go make them. Don't. I mean, that's one change I made over the past couple of... Nah, not months. I think it's more of like... Once I left being a junior dev and started more going into the meteor space, I stopped reading through so much documentation, just started building things. I want to learn CSS grid. Okay, nice. What's the most impossible grid I can find on Dribble? I'm just gonna make that one. And then you start learning. But that can also be a case of what you know, it can also be a case what works for me might not work for you, right? Okay, so this is 12. I feel very seen. Actually, this needs to be 8. Or what's this called? Which camera did we pick? The Logitech one. Okay, sorry, this is going to be in Dutch. I will type it over like 720p. Welcome to Learning Dutch with Twan Kruiswijk. 720p webcam with build in microphone and an indicatie LED. What the fuck is an indication LED? I don't know. Welcome to Twan doesn't perfectly understand English and tries to translate something from Dutch live on stream. Okay, and we can do this one. And then how did Bol.com like display the price on these suckers? Like below it. Expensive was it? $30, like 30 euro. Let's do dollars, just for the sake of it. I will get to your chat message in just a second. Not great, not bad, definitely needs some work. I think I'm actually going to increase this to like 12. Better. not great, not bad. But we'll just gonna go to product. Nah, it's fair that I do spend way too long researching and not enough actually building. Yeah, that I definitely know that feeling. I know when I actually started out like working with WordPress and like creating WordPress themes, I was just reading too. I wasn't actually spending any time in my editor, and I was only like watching tutorials. And I have tutorials are great if you are like having problems with. I don't know how. What's a perfect example? I don't know. You have this one specific issue that you don't know how to fix, so you watch a couple of tutorials until you find someone who actually does the trick. Like, I don't know, some magic with arrays or whatever. Like, you're like, okay, I need to do some like, I need to use some data structure that I have never used before. How the fuck do I do it? How do I get from data structure 1 to data structure 2? I don't know. I don't know even if that's like the perfect example. Sometimes you need somebody to show you it, but it's seldom that I go through an entire tutorial anymore. And if I do go through an entire tutorial, I'll always take the approach from, okay, he's building a Uber clone, so I'm going to create a takeaway clone, right? Just so that you're not copy and pasting everything. That for me, that works better. It can actually be just a bit smaller. They're rarely the exact same. Makes sense, yeah. And they go out of date, or the thing that like irritates me the freaking most is that it's incomplete and not production ready. I get why some people make tutorials like, okay, I'm just gonna show you like. Yeah, actually, I don't get how people. I do get it and I don't get it. I mean, I think a good tutorial is something that you can just push to production, right? Because in many cases, you miss. For instance, I was struggling for very long with how do I do proper user authentication on the front end. I don't care about the back end. How do I utilize JWT tokens? How do I like keep a session going? How do I like request data from an API while sending the bearer token or whatever the fuck, or the JWT token, whatever authentication strategy, any authentication strategy for that matter. No data. They use Firebase or they mock something or not useful. And if you want to learn that, you have to go through like a backend tutorial, but then in the backend tutorial they take shortcuts on the front end part. Not bad, good practices and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, maybe that's where I come in one day when I'm like senior plus, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make tutorials for people who actually want to ship something to production without like having to figure everything out on their own. I mean, if I have to give kudos to one project as of lately, it's Remix. Because they have like repositories like these ones, which are basically production grade tooling, like all batteries included, good documentation on how to deploy, how to run tests, like everything from basically. Have you tried Nux yet? No, I'm actually not really into Vue for that matter, but I have heard that Nux 3 looks amazing. Like, especially the automatic imports is something that I want to have in Next.js like yesterday. I hate doing imports, because then I don't longer have to like set up like relative or absolute pads or relative pads. I always forget how they're called. That's cool. And also they did some like I watched this video this morning. I don't know if this is allowed on Twitch, but I don't care. It's educational like shit. I will actually link to it. Like
It is April 25th, 2022.
Like, let me not show everything, but there's something in here that, yeah, use this use fetch function, like that you can pick certain things from it, and you can even transform it all from a single fetch. That's pretty cool. So no more multiple functions. And like you also have this, like depending on the refresh. I know you can do something similar with SWR, but this API is just way cleaner. But on the other hand, I would have to get familiar with Vue, and I'm just not going to do that. Although it's similar to React, I know. But I'm also pretty attached to my Next.js workflow. And again, they have layouts, and what was this? Use state, so they have their own take on state management. Yeah, server routes. So they actually built their whole own take on like the server with I think it's called Nitro, right? Next.3 Nitro. It looks better. It looks better at or an S. Better S next. Still need to give it a try. Yeah, I know. Does it look? Next.js also gives you like the advantages of like using Vercel and like. I don't. I think I'm in the same boat as you. I can't really comment on which one is better and like more convenient and satisfying to work with, which has the better developer experience. I think that's what I'm searching for. That's what I'm trying to say, because I haven't used Nuxt at all. Like at freaking all. And I also haven't written any production grade code with Vue, so I don't know the ins and outs of Vue, while I do know how to. Like, I do know good practices in React. No? Except Vercel isn't good. I don't necessarily agree with that. If you have the right context, you can really scale on Vercel. Indefinitely. I mean, you have to go enterprise, and I think it can definitely go a lot cheaper. But I just love the convenience of Vercel. But then again, you can use AWS with Next, right? Yeah, you can use anything with Next. Heck, you can even run it via your computer and expose it via a port on your router to the entire internet. But then again, you know, Codemaster, what if I want to run a serverless function or scheduled cron job? Vercel won't suffice. Actually, the API routes in Vercel are just all serverless functions, so I don't know exactly what you mean. And the scheduled cron job, I don't know. I haven't had the need to run a cron job in. When's the last time I did it? When I did Magento work, so that's like 5 years ago. But I don't know. You know what you are doing differs from what I'm doing, so I mean. One thing I would say about this debate is like it doesn't grind my gears, not at all. But how do you say this in English? Because if we were talking in Dutch, we could have a way better discussion about this. Or is it even a discussion? It's more if you worried about not scaling, you are not worried about your servers. You are not worried about the cost. So if I actually was in the position like, I don't know, let's take Use Affiliates, for example. Use Affiliates gets like gets a publication in a couple of newspapers, and I get an influx of like thousands and thousands of users. I can pretty much scale up my Vercel for a lot of money. But then, you know, if I get a lot of users, I will probably make a lot of money if my business model is correct. So I can then hire an expert on like, okay, I brought this pretty much from 0 to 1. Now you take it to the next level and make it scalable, etc. Have you looked at the pricing too? It's expensive for simple... yeah, but... I don't care about the cost if the developer experience is that much better, because AWS absolutely... I'm not going to say that because I have to be honest, I didn't spend all that long like figuring out AWS just because it's so confusing at times. The last statement I definitely don't agree with. Vercel is great for export that succeed need better. I don't know. I have done multiple projects which run on Vercel which have MMR like in the tens of thousands, so I think that's pretty successful. But if it's a matter of scale, it means it all depends on like it's not really for it's not only a developer decision, it's also like a business decision, like how fast do you want to do. What team do you have? What expertise do you have? And how convenient, like, okay, so it's all starts with the business. You have a couple of developers. They all know, they all can, like, deploy to Vercel, and they are not good at, like, AWS. It depends on so many facets on, like, what is good and what is not good. Like, it's just the same with, like... but everybody's always screaming in your ear like, why are you still using that technology if you use something old? Because this is way faster. I mean, if you haven't learned a new technology and you want to build something, just don't bother learning something new. Just first get to 0 to 1 with the thing you actually know, and then think about the business. You can always... I think the only thing I'm trying to say is, yes, you can use many better things, but I think it all comes down to, like, if your problem is scaling up and like cost effectiveness, I don't really care whatever the fuck we used to get from 0 to 1. We can always rewrite it later. Just get as fast to market as possible with a decent enough product. If you're building a static site on Next, then Vercel is great. Yeah, use affiliates is like very fast, and it's fast enough. And it takes like it's mostly statically generated pages, which is great for SEO, especially for the product that use affiliates. I don't know. I'm just not the type of person to really get into like X is better than Y. I'm more like, okay, like if I use Next, I can click it. Yeah, and that's exactly my point. You know, don't. As my developer mind always goes like what this discussion was earlier, like performance, scaling, yada yada yada. And I actually noticed as of recent that I was like, why am I like, let's go to just chatting for a second. Why am I even bothered about like scaling issues and authentication? And I'm looking at all these rate limits, and I'm just you're getting anxious about things that are not a problem yet or will not be a problem at all. Like, just get it out there. Like, make money with it before you start worrying about like rate limits and all that kind of bullshit. If your product gets there, you will be happy, and then you can take a step back and like, okay, and now we have the funds to hire someone who can fix this. Don't address problems until they exist. No. Always go for a convenient route. And now it might sound like Next.js is like way worse than AWS. It's not. It's fine. There are many big projects hosted on Vercel. Yes, something else might be better, but then you're more talking about scraping off 100 or 200 microseconds of, I don't know. It's not that. We get caught up too much as like product owners, designers, and like more like creating digital experiences on research about 100 milliseconds delay causes like X amount of money lost on $2 billion fucking dollars, you know. You can always optimize it if you're at that scale. Box. Oh, thanks, Box Fan, for the follow. It's I don't know. Let me see. Oh, actually, you're not seeing my screen, so you didn't see what I just did. I was moving around here a bit with like, okay, what else do we need? I mean, these are not great. 07. Am I missing a reference here, Boxman? Ah, project. That's what he wanted to write out. Let's see. Okay, so we definitely have to take care of the buttons. Yeah, so let's... I think the only thing we really changed for this one is that we need to give it another stroke. And I guess we also have that somewhere down here. I really need to include this into its own component so it updates everywhere. But can we also get away then with like grabbing these ones? Yeah, actually, let me just skip this. Oh. I really have to make a bonus out of this. I think this component was in the drafts, right? Yeah, this just doesn't look great. You know what? I just don't think this is actually going to work. Like having the tiles with the floating buttons. I just don't see how this is ever going to look good or good enough. I will keep it in here for now. I will keep it in here for now, and then we can always... Yeah, it looks weird, like the double borders, and this looks like a button on top of another button. Maybe if we like remove the backgrounds and like make these... Maybe this works. Oh. This. And then we have to... This is... Okay. Executive decision. Nuke it! Delete. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Have a great time. So long. Come again. This is better. And this is fine. Do we actually know of other, like, social... I mean... I think people either use like these components or they will grab a button and I still have to make a better variant which takes a icon. Because if we look at all the Linktree variants, for example, let's take the Gary V one. People are probably going to do this, right? Set up their own like image and a button. I think more people will actually buy Crossroads and just create like a persona with a header and then like button. than like utilizing all the other elements. I think. I don't know for sure. I think. So it doesn't make sense to like have. I mean, you can still do it, right? You can still get to the design that we just deleted by just setting the tiles and then copy pasting a button below it. I just have to make sure that I set up all my grids in a way that you can, like all my components, blocks, elements, etc., in a way that it's easy to include, like for example, a button into the grid here, and that it still works. Of course, it will look a little bit odd if you only add a button below one element, but then it's obvious, okay, if you add them everywhere else, it will work. As long as you can add a button below like this tile and it doesn't like moves into its own row, it's fine. And maybe I'll create like, if we go to like CodePen, for example, the thing I'm playing with right now is that I might want to introduce like classes like grid 1 of 2, like this, and then like grid 1 of 3, like 1 to 3. And then if you don't have anything, then you don't have anything. Like in this case, if you paste like a block in here, you have 3 blocks, and if you have the one in here, you can have 2 blocks. And it has to work with everything, with buttons, with like these cards, everything. So if we have a look at this block, this then is like in a 1 of 2 grid. While these are in a 1 of 3 grid, but they are full width. And these are 2 in 1 of 3 grid, but they have a gutter. And then these ones aren't spaced correctly. That's nice. Which we can do right here. Oh, wait, what? Oh, well, I'll have to fix it later. And again, I'm slowly but surely thinking more about, okay, maybe this set of like default things are... No, I really have to create all the blocks. I have to. And I have to do one iteration within Figma. Otherwise, it's just going to take too much time to implement this because of things I haven't thought of during the design phase. But let's see, we have a product card. Are we happy with the product card? No, not yet, because I want to add one more thing. I think I want to do something like this. Does this look? Spacing looks very odd. But it's just more of a try out right now. But this though goes to show how the entire templating thing will work. What I just did, you can do. It's entirely possible. I don't know if I will ship with it as a predefined block, but you can do it. You know what? The simple product card is cool. Am I going to add a discounted state? Let's do it right here. Like, let's say red. Let's go to Tailwind and grab a red color. Let's grab red 600. Let's grab green. Greenerini. Let's grab green 600. Let's do small.
Thank you.
isn't great. Yet again, it's the first version. This just remembers me to like have a second look at it, and then I will probably go to some e-commerce site, see, okay, how do they design for discount, right? Okay, support account, discarded state. Then the statistics, which is probably just going to be... how do I want to do this? How do I want to display this? Let me just... Cool design, by the way. Really clean. Really calm. Yeah, so we can probably do it something like this, right? Like with a little arrow and then like so much %. Because maybe guys who build in public like me can then show like their actual latest numbers. Like my MMR has grown like % or has down, or my churn rate is up and my churn rate is down. They can create a little dashboard for like the social followers. See like, okay, I can open your link in bio and I can immediately see like, this is your current MMR, this is how much followers you gained this month. Because there are actually people on Twitter who tweet about that a lot. So it can help them, because for them then it can go like, okay, people open my link in bio to see my stats, and then right below there or above of that or below there I show them like a call to action to subscribe to my newsletter to get more information about how they made those numbers. So let's see. Let's grab a rectangle. Do 8, 12. That's a drop shadow I like. Now let's create a... Oh no. Why can't I? Oh, I'm actually noticing already that I made a mistake in these designs. That's why it might look a little bit better. Okay, this looks way better. It's just like using like black, like the 000 variant. Not a great idea in many cases. It just looks better if you use a slightly different dark color, slightly different black. And then they were like 33%. Let's also make this green. Again, not my most cleanest design, but it's oh, it's a start. I'm looking at the time right now and I'm like, okay, I have to get off in like 10 to 20 minutes. And I will place this on above the thing. So I'm just blamping my ideas right on in Figma. And then we can look at it like at the end of the week. Because tomorrow I won't be streaming because of King's Day. I will be drinking beers in honor of my King Willy. Look at my king is actually like... Where is it? Here. Yeah, this is our king. Willem Alexander. Look at this. King beer. Koning Pils. Look at this. Oh no, he drank beer with pudding. It was way in front of war. You guys have a king? Yeah. In the Netherlands, we have a king and a queen. A queen. Koningin. This is our queen. But we do have a king. Willem Alexander. Look at them being happily together. With the whole family. We only have a have a queen. Yeah, we have them all. We don't have a prince. We only have princesses. So he didn't have a son. Okay. Oh, this looks horrible. I'm actually kind of embarrassed by this design that I made. I think this even looks better. It has to be in there. We have Prince Andrew and Princess Kate. I don't know where you place a question mark there. You tell me, right? That's the name. I don't know. We have like... Our princes are called like... Okay, I have to think about it. Amalia, Alexia, and... Is there any Dutch person in chat that can help me out with... Amalia, Alexia... Was it also... Sorry. I will have to look it up. Amalia, Alexia, and Ariana. Ariana, yeah, exactly. Alexia, Ariana, and Amalia. Ariana. Wait. I am from England and I have no clue what the names are. Yeah, so they have 3 daughters. Katarina, Amalia, Alexia, and Ariana. So, Amalia, Alexia, Ariana. That's the royal family, I guess. So, thanks for tuning in to like Twitch, like Building Up a Public with Twan Kruiswijk. Welcome to my piece on the Dutch royal family. Anyway, I'm going into just chat mode. Learn something new every day. Yeah, you will learn something new every day when watching my stream. Actually, I'm going into just chat mode. I'm going to finish my drink. And then I will have to do some groceries, and then it's King Evening. So, it's a Dutch national holiday, King's Day, where we celebrate the birthday of our king by going through music festivals and like getting wasted, pretty much doing a barbecue. Like 9 out of 10 times you're already wasted before you end up doing the barbecue. So King's Day is also a little bit, how do you say that? Dangerous? No. But the evening before King's Day, because everybody is free from work tomorrow, so we have King's Evening as well. So I think I'm going to Utrecht tonight. Going to a couple of parties. Actually, I think it's all like outside, like cafes and like there will be a couple of like bands playing. I don't know. It sounds fun. So no, I won't be in a good state to stream tomorrow. Otherwise, I think I will fuck up the design even more than right now. I'm not fucking up the design. I have to tell this to myself over and over and over again. It's the first version. Yeah. I mean, it's great to have a day off. I wasn't streaming last week, but then again, I already told you at the start of the week that what happened last week. But for you who didn't know yet, it's like my father was hospitalized like 2 years ago with like something in his spine, which causes like tremendous amounts of pain in his legs and in his back and in his neck. So he got surgery for that one, and for some reason, like 1 week ago, or maybe it's 2 weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago in the weekend, he got excruciating pains in his legs, in his torso, everywhere, in his hands, in his wrists, for no reason. And it turned out, I don't know what's called, like zenuwpijn. Like, yeah, okay, it's nerve pain. Maybe there's a better medical term in English than nerve pain. But it turned out that it was like some kind of nerve pain that... So it's kind of weird because your brain pretty much goes like the doctor explained it to us. Like, your brain goes into a state where it thinks like you have a horrendous injury in your leg. Like, what's an injury? Like, you got shot in the leg several times. Your brain thinks you have that kind of pain. So you're in that kind of pain. But nothing's there. Like, it's completely... Your leg is fine. It's only your nerve that's like giving the wrong signals to your brain. So actually he went on some meds and now it's pretty a-okay. On the other hand, I'm thinking like, okay, so if he now gets hit by a bus, he pretty much walks away. I mean, he's on medication. So I think the medication pretty much blocks off those the communication between his nerves and his brain. Shit, I haven't heard of that before. No, me neither. I mean, I know of nerve pain. Go to the dentist and you see a lot of people with nerve pain in their mouth. But actually, in the sense of like your brain thinking you have a horrific injury and there's just nothing there. Strange. So he's alright right now? Yeah, better. I mean, he still walks like shit. But it's better. At least he's not having that pain anymore, because it was kind of heartbreaking when you have to like... I'm only... I mean, can I say that? I'm only 26. I think there are a lot of people my age that already have lost their parents. But I'm only 26. The way I look at it, I'm only 26. So to have to help my father out of bed while he's in that much pain, it's just heartbreaking. So I really needed to take a break from stream and from work last week, just to help out, do some groceries, walk the dog, yada yada yada. Our brains need an update. This version is real buggy. Yeah, exactly. Our whole spine section needs an update. Oh my god, I'm getting... Wait. Want to become famous? Want to become banned and reported? Banned. Report. My mom's been ill since I was like 10. It's tough. Yeah, it's... Sorry to hear that, man. Is it like... How... Is this something I can... How bad is it? Like, it's bad enough that your mother is ill, but... Is it like bearable-ish? Or is it like... agony? Okay, sorry, I had to like ban and report those two bot accounts. I really hate bot accounts. I mean, in the case of my father, it's only like something of the past 2 years. Like it started with his leg doing weird, and then chronic pain, other symptoms, I guess you'd call it. Yeah. Oh, that sucks. I don't know. It's just something with your parents and being in pain that's just so damn. Like, I'm going to Google this again. It makes you feel How didn't I remember? It makes you feel really powerless, right? It's like those people for like the first 26. Okay, then that got ill 2 years. Like that first, let's say the first 20 years of your life, they were like, for me at least, they were fit, they were outgoing, there were like lots of energies. And right now you start to notice that they're getting older. They're getting older, and of course that's like the circle of life. But I don't know. I'm just very aware of the fact that they're getting old. So I found it very important to spend time with them. Don't like the idea of like moving to like New York or other country because I want to stay close to my parents. I don't know. I'm a family man, I guess. Not many people will call me a family man, but deep inside I am a family man. I find it very important. And yeah, what you say, it's hard to accept. But this is turning into like a live session while I'm talking about building a business. I don't know. If you people find it annoying me talking about this shit, just let me know. I understand. But I also want to have a heart-to-heart with like we're doing group therapy and just me being me, I guess. I don't know. Sorry, I made up my mind. Executive decision. This is going to be part of my stream from now on. Like having talks, getting everyone involved. It doesn't always have to be about like making money and running businesses. I mean, life is the most important part of running a business, I guess. I was talking to a couple of friends yesterday. We're in pretty much the same situation as me. And we're all like, yeah, we got our private life, except the bullshit I had. Like, it's not bullshit, but except the shit I had with my father the last week. But up until then, we were all smooth sailing. I mean, we had our routines, we work, we go to the gym, we have our diet down, yada 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 yada, which takes a lot of stress away. So a good personal life is really important for having a good amount of brain space for running a business or making a career. I think especially since I've started losing all that weight, my work days are just a different kind of animal. I get so much more done. I have so much more energy. In the evenings, I almost never... I had one day 2 weeks ago where I was in the gym and I was like, I just don't have any energy. I don't know where it went. I can't lift any heavy weights. It's just, I'm done for. I'm tired. I need to go out, still finish my workout and felt better afterwards, but... It's just, you just become a different kind of beast when you also focus a little bit on fitness. And I know there are a lot of people in chat who I've spoken to before who are like, fitness, fuck it. Try it out. I mean, a good diet and working out, it does wonders. A life of pure work isn't a life at all. Nope, and that's why I chose to go independent. I just have a certain kind of lifestyle that requires me to have the freedom to choose my own time of when I work, when I find myself productive, and when I want to take a meeting. You know, of course, sometimes you have to make some exceptions, but most of my weeks up until now, I have all been formed by me. I don't have to like explain myself to anyone. If I don't feel like working in the morning, fuck it, I don't work in the morning. But if I feel like working in the middle of the night, I can work in the middle of the night. I can move projects forward all on my own. I can send emails. It's just, people always talk about work-life balance, and I think we have to ditch that like in the next couple of years or right now, because it's not work-life balance. You're searching for balance. If you're passionate about your career, it's not work and life, it's life. The only thing that's a little bit different, and which gives me still a little bit of anxiety, is that you don't get the comfort of receiving a salary at the end of each and every month. You really have to work for it yourself. But in that case, it is what it is. I mean, having to hustle a little bit and like, okay, maybe I have to take on a freelance client in the next couple of weeks. If that's it, so be it. Maybe I have to work 40 hours a week for 3 months to be able to have the freedom for like 8 months. And then next year I can have 12 months of freedom. It's a big worry with living prices. Prices rising. Yeah. But I'm fortunate enough to have like really sufficient funds. I mean, I've told it on stream many times before. I run out of is a very big thing, but let's say I run out of funds like in September, but I noticed this month already I just transferred my salary over to myself, like moved funds, and now I'm already good for up until October. So I gamified it more, I guess. If it works for you, that's great. Yeah, but I really think it can work for everyone, because you can take multiple approaches to freelancing. People always think that you have to like get a job, work 30, 40 hours or work 32 hours, move jobs, get better career. You can do anything. I think more people have to try out the freelance life. I think it makes you better, especially with you don't get away with leaning back and letting things work out. You really have to go after it yourself. If you are really that kind of person, good for you. I wasn't. I was always the person who likes, okay, if there was an issue somewhere, I would like sit back and think to myself, okay, this is not my issue, right? This is the issue for either the client or my boss or like someone else on my team. And now it's all on my plate. Like it's all my responsibility. And that actually made me better over the past couple of months. I have to take charge of a couple of people I work with. I have to make sure that I communicate to the client. If I tell somebody else to communicate with the client, like a freelancer I'm working with, I have to make sure that they do talk to the client. Payments, I have to like work with my bookkeeper. It's not crazy difficult, but you have to do it. And I think if I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm not that special. How long did it take you to get to that point? I started my profession. Okay, so I was like in college until like 2017, but I was already working 2 years, and I started freelancing last September. So it took me 5 to 6 years. But I think I was like playing with the idea of going freelance for only like a year or so before actually going to freelance. I don't know. I think the thing I had going for me was that I was always interested in like saving money, like being financially stable, don't have any debt, invest, like all that kind of good shit. Do you wish you'd done it earlier? No. And I'm still... Okay, this kind of like goes against what I just said, but I am still, the only thing that still makes me kind of wonder about, is this the right thing for me, is that I'm still relatively young, like I'm 26, and the thing I miss the most is like working in a team or growing together with a team. If I look back at it now, I wish I might have took a job in between it to work at like one of my dreams was also to work for Netflix or for Disney Plus or whatever, just to work in a really professional and like high quality team and learn from more seniors. But then again, I'm already looking at like possibilities of doing a couple of freelance jobs inside of those teams. But I just have no clue at how receptive those people are. Like, maybe they're like, you're a freelancer, figure it the fuck out, right? Like I took you on as freelancer, you should figure this out. And when you're in team, it's more like, oh shit, we have to figure this out together, because if you ain't gonna do it, I have to do it anyway. So let me teach you so you can do it the next time yourself. But there's actually one thing I did wish I've done earlier, and that is like ship more shit. Ship more. I've ever since I was doing my like, ever since I was in college, I always was like building projects, but I never shipped. Rarely did I ship something to the internet, and rarely did I follow up with doing some sort of marketing, like some form of promotion, right? So I think that's the one thing I do wish I've done earlier, and that's like persist to ship something and don't quit when it's getting hard or when you don't know something. Like if you really don't know something and it's really far out of reach, try to come up with like a workaround for it. And as far as like freelancing goes, as opposed to working, I really love the company I worked for, and I really would have loved to work for a high intensity or like more of a more professional, like the best in the business kind of teams. I don't know if they actually exist. I wish to think so, but then again, like, is the engineering team at Netflix really better than the engineering team at Disney Plus or at Prime or whatever? I mean, everybody is doing similar stuff, right? They're making it's for front at least. They're making like an interface with tiles, and you have to scroll and you have to open it, and then you have a video player. I think the most difficult thing of working for Netflix and Disney Plus is actually working on the fucking video player as a front-end developer. But then again, I can still do that as a freelancer. So it's kind of a I don't know yet. Maybe after this journey I can say, well, you know what? I should have applied for a job at like Disney Plus or Netflix. Or maybe a smaller company if those two are out of reach for me. You never know. But I have control over one thing now that I wish I've done differently, and that is fucking ship it. Ship things. Ship it. Ship more. And stay active on projects and give them time to index like SEO. You know? Like, take the time to launch a product, like for instance on Product Hunt, get some initial users, make sure you update the project regularly. Wait, which one? Ship things to the internet. Like, fuck it, ship it. Like, shipping is more like deploying actual projects. Like, use affiliates. I already shipped use affiliates once back in 2018. I believe so. Maybe it's 2019. But I wish I like kept it online and did some marketing so I could have had a better ranking on Google. Actually, let me show you. I could have gotten a better ranking at Google at the moment. So if I now only had to do a redesign and started a blog, I already had pretty good ranking. And the same goes for Crossroad. It's a relatively small project, but it's more to build my deployment, like fuck it, ship it model inside of my brain. Like, make things, release it, get better at marketing, and do it over again. Make shit, release it, do marketing, do it over again. I mean, I'm really a believer in like you have to make like 20 things before even one of those projects, if it's the first project you did or it's the last project you did, before it gets like it makes sufficient amount of money. I know of a couple of stories where people built their first product outside of work and got successful with it, but I think in 8 or 9 out of 10 cases, it's a matter of shipping more things and like doing a little bit of marketing, then leave it to the side until it gains some traction one way or another. Is it through like content marketing? Is it through like advertisement if you decide to do it at any point in time? But just don't put all your eggs into one basket. Do more things. And yo, if I'm really lucky, like I'm already in contact with a couple of people about this project. I don't think I can say more than that. No, I can't say more than that. There are things in the work for this project. People actually really like this project. yeah, I think I can say like I might partner up with a company or I might sell it even to a company. So now I'm on this project and I'm like, okay, this is my project to learn like selling a digital product. This was my this was my product to learn to create a database, like a content database, and then people can post program. How do you make a curated list? And you can do like, how do I create like a type form where people can submit the programs? And then I am also working on a project called Birdmark, which is more of a you can call it a SaaS, or like and which is an interface on top of like Twitter bookmarks. So there is a pattern with all these projects that I'm doing. Like, okay, I want to get better at something. Let me build it. Fuck it, ship it. Do some marketing. Move on to the next one. And then the only thing missing currently in my whole planning is like the freelance work, like making actual cash. But then again, use affiliates can sell for 6 figures, and then I don't have to worry about cash. Anyway, I have to get out and do some groceries. Because I have to eat, and I would have loved to go to the gym, but I just don't have time for it. And actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I am expecting a package between 18th. Yeah, okay, so I can't go to the gym. That sucks. Okay. Yeah. So this concludes today's stream. So we basically, the summary of this stream is we've done a lot of. Actually, we created a lot of new blocks. So I think Thursday I will be back on stream. Great stream. Thanks, mate. Thank you, mate. Great to have you. Fun conversations. I really love it. Actually, for everybody watching, just play some more things in chat. If you're co-working, stay co-working, buddies. But I don't know. I just love reading and interacting with chat. But I will be back on Thursday, where we'll probably implement the last couple of blocks and start to do the first iteration. And then I hope by next week we can start fiddling around with the actual templating. And maybe by the end of the week even think about building the landing page and maybe even launching. I want to do this faster than the other projects, but I have to be patient. So have a great Wednesday when I'm not streaming tomorrow, unfortunately. So have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're from. Mwah, little smoochie. And I will see you guys Thursday. See ya!